5, quarantine science time.
All right, 6th graders, this is ocean surface currents, part of the influences of weather and climate unit. And in this activity, we're going to be demonstrating, and this one you can actually try at home. So if you'd like to give it a shot at home first and then come back and watch the video, that's awesome. If you don't have the supplies, that's okay too. We'll show you everything you'll need to be able to see to answer the questions. But this is one that you could probably easily do at home. We have our globe here again just to kind of remind you that we've been looking at the different ocean currents and the directions that those go. So remember last week all the maps and things you were looking at and how those change based on the equator versus the poles and the temperatures and the winds. So in this one, our essential question that we're going to be really looking at is how do those winds that we've been studying and land masses affect ocean surface currents? So you started out, you should be making a hypothesis and filling in those blanks to create a hypothesis. What do you think is going to happen when we introduce wind and land masses to surface currents? The materials that it has us get is an aluminum pan, some rocks, clay, says safety goggles. I've got glasses on so that won't come up in my eyes. Water, some Italian spices, some straws. You don't have to have those exact supplies. If you have something similar, to say instead of a rock, you have something like a golf ball, that will work too. So just get creative in how you can simulate. So procedure for task 1, we are going to fill our container here, and I have an aluminum sheet pan. And you're going to fill it about halfway with water. I know it's clear, so it's kind of hard to see. It's about halfway. And then step 2 says to sprinkle Italian seasonings on the surface so that it's floating on the surface. So I have some spaghetti seasoning here, and we're going to sprinkle it so you can see on the surface there. So you can see them on the surface. And then we are going to take a straw and we're going to blow gently across the surface of the water from one corner. And we're going to make sure that we blow across and not down straight into the water, because wind is going across the water, not down straight into it. And then you're going to make a drawing on the next page about what you observe. All right, so that would be task 1 here. And we're gonna check in and see how Mr. Olsen's doing with his task 1 and his setup over at Mr. Olsen's house.
Oh, thanks. Welcome to my house. This is my giraffe Sola. Let's take a look at how my task 1 is going. So here you notice there's 2 currents. It comes here and then it goes around. Wait, Sturza, here's a rock so you can do task 2. Did that just turn into...
We are going to be starting with golf balls, rocks, clay, and be adding some of those things to your model. So I'm going to use a golf ball to represent a rock, and then we're going to be adding a couple of rocks that I've grabbed from my garden here in as land masses. In our demonstration, I happen to have some clay. So we're going to add some of those. It can be either one, just like that. Can be however many. And step 2 says we're going to repeat blowing through the straw and make observations of what happened. Make sure you're blowing in the same spot as before, and then make a drawing on the next page. All right, go ahead and make that drawing, and we'll check and see how is Mr. Olsen's task 2 going, and what does his ocean surface current model look like.
So here's task 2. You'll notice some weak currents, some fast currents.
All right, Olsen, I'm open. We are going to do task 3, where we are going to use a boat to set sail on the seas of Arendelle, where we have a Elsa here who's going to test out our surface currents and see if she can navigate our land masses. So in task 3, you want to make sure your landmass is still in the same spot. And think about the duck experiment as far as this one, and don't forget to then draw your observations. For task 4, we're going to rearrange. You can add, subtract land masses and kind of experiment doing different things from the same direction, from different directions. And on yours, you can do all kinds of different things there. So I'm gonna send it back to Mr. Olsen.
I like this current here.